Yeah, all right. Welcome back, everybody. Monday afternoon here in America. Some of you are not in America. So good afternoon, good evening, good night. We are going to finish up Havdallah. Obviously, there's a lot more that it's not obvious. It's obvious to me that there's a lot more to discuss about Havdallah than I'm going to be able to convey. I thought maybe actually next time I will do a demonstration of what Havdalah looks like. I think most of you already know, but the proper way to hold the cup and whatnot. But I'll talk a little bit about some of the laws, finish them up, and then we'll move on to another topic. So we spoke about a little bit about the wine, about the candles, why we do what, some of the weird customs, seemingly weird customs, like why do we dip it in our pockets, over our eyes? We don't blow out candles. I don't know. We'll speak about a bunch of stuff. So now we'll talk about a few things. What can you make Havdalah on? Are women obligated in Havdalah? And that has serious ramifications. Do we talk sitting, standing, etc., etc.? Okay, so the Alter Rebbe, the Shulchan Aruch Harav. Yeah, I'm Chabad. I'm biased. So I'll start with the Alter Rebbe, who has his own Shulchan Aruch called Shulchan Aruch Harav. He paskins like this. He says like this. You can recite Havdalah on what's called Chamar Medina, which means wine of the region or drink of the region, which basically means anything you would serve your guests, not to quench their thirst, but out of a, respect, and it's like a thing to do. You can say Havdalah on. So wine, obviously, is number one, which we'll talk about in a moment. Whiskey, coffee. Yeah, we go out for coffee. Let's just go get some coffee. Coffee is it's called a davar chashuv. It's something very honorable and whatever. Something you spend your money on, you would just go out for a coffee and a tea. Those are pretty much the main things. I would argue back in the day when soda pop first was introduced, people would go to soda bars. I believe you could have made Havdalah on soda back then, like Coca-Cola, but nowadays it's not considered of class, I guess you could say, to drink Coca-Cola, although it is delicious. So you cannot make Havdalah on Coca-Cola. Now, the Gemara says that those that make it on wine are called kadosh. Those that make Havdalah over a glass of wine, a cup of wine, are called kadosh. They're called holy. Why is that? By the end of Shabbos, you're not really interested in drinking wine, for the most of us. The reason is we had wine Friday night, Shabbos day. Perhaps you had it a little bit in the afternoon for whatever reason. You enjoy drinking wine on Shabbos. You look forward to it. When Shabbos is over, you're not looking forward to it. And therefore, those that strain themselves, says the Gemara, to make it over wine are called kadosh. They go beyond the letter of the law, so to speak. They go beyond themselves. That is called kadosh. And for those of us that study Chassidus, those are what's called an ovid elokim, if you want to know. An ovid, the one who serves God. There are those that believe in God and do mitzvahs, but they're not called servers of God. Servers of God means you go beyond your limitations, beyond what's comfortable. Gemara says those are the ones that truly serve God. Gives an example of a taxi driver. It's a little bit off topic, but always got to slip in the little chassidus in there. Taxi driver, if you pay for a fare, he says $100 for 100 miles is $100. But if we go 101 miles, it's $200. Seemingly, isn't it $1 a mile? No, it's not $1 a mile because I'm going beyond what's rugil, what's common, what's easy for me to do, what's normal for me to do. So that I have normal pricing. But once you start forcing me to go beyond my comfort zone, the price is high, my friend. So says God, that is the mashal. Says the Gemara, that is the mashal. That is the parable for those that serve God. So if you can, drink wine. Say it over wine. The question is, what if you enjoy What if now? Okay, there's a concept called pogum. You should be familiar with. You cannot say kiddush or havdallah on wine that is pogum, which literally means not poisoned. It's a little bit extreme. Pogum, guys, help me. Pogum is like when it's gone bad,
Spoiled.
spoiled. Thank you very much. Spoiled or stale. You can't when you taste it, when you put it in your mouth. So if you had a glass of wine, you had a cup, you have a kiddush cup of wine on the table. Happens very often on Shabbos. People come down the stairs a little bit late, like myself. We like to schmooze before we go hear kiddush. And I get down there and there's no more wine. But I do see wine in a bunch of cups. People made kiddush themselves. Chabad is pretty stringent, not stringent, but we really try to make our own kiddush. Maybe we'll do laws of kiddush. It's a good idea. We try to make our own kiddush. And so there's leftover wine in the little cups. Can I just put the cups together, assuming it's not COVID season, and make my own kiddush? So yes, you can, but it's really preferable not to. In fact, most would argue that you shouldn't do it, but it seems that, if you really are in a pinch and there's nothing else that you can make kiddush on. Now, we never run out of whiskey at our shul, but whatever, let's just say, crazy situation. Then you could use pogum wine. You could use that kind of wine. It's called pogum. Yeah, the guy tasted it, didn't use it all. It's called pogum. You got to have pure, straight from the bottle. That's the best way to do it. So what about in a situation in Havdallah where I know that beer is considered a chamar medina, a special drink. What if I have a glass of beer versus pogum wine? Which one should I do? So it's actually a machlokes. It's a disagreement, but most hold that it is preferable to do it on beer than pogum wine. I really brought that out just to teach you the word pogum, of what pogum is about. I just want to mention something else on kiddush. What happens? Somebody makes kiddush for everybody, and then he drinks from it. And then he gives you, right? He drinks from the cup, and then he typically will pour the cup into other people's glasses. And then you drink it. Am I drinking pogum wine? Is it a problem? Clearly not, if most people do it. And the answer is, why? Why is that a problem? Because the mitzvah of kiddush, Friday night and Shabbos day, is to hear kiddush, to hear the words of kiddush, not necessarily to drink wine. The one who's reciting the kiddush, the main household, the main guy at the household, let's say, he has to drink it, but not everybody else has to drink it. In fact, Shabbos day, the Shabbos day kiddush, I'll just let you guys know a little secret. I don't drink the kiddush. If I'm in shul and I hear kiddush, I just listen. I don't go over there fighting to get a little drop of wine. It's not my thing. Because all you have to do
Question.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it customary? Because the way I always do kiddush is like when I do kiddush, either at the house or the rabbi does it. After he drinks, he always pours more.
Oh,
and I was under the impression
he pours more from a bottle of wine.
Yeah, at least a drop more to purify it.
Very good, very good. Yes, Moshe, you brought up a great point. The way to take it ice pogum, to make it not pogum, you pour wine that has not been drunk. You pour it into the actual cup. Yes, that is a way that you can get rid of it. Not everybody does that, but because again, the mitzvah is actually just the hear kiddush. But yes, that's a very nice way of doing it. Yes, everybody got that? You want to do ice? You want to make it not pogum anymore? So let me just say, like in yeshiva, I remember one time. It's really good that you brought up that point. There was no wine. We couldn't find any wine. There was only a little bit of drop of wine left in a wine bottle. Certainly not enough to make kiddush. So we poured all the wines together that were left over in cups, and then we poured that last drop of wine on top, and that makes it not pogum anymore. Moishi, thank you very much for doing that. Women, you should also know this. The mitzvah of kiddush, to recite kiddush, is not only for men. And it actually gets into very complicated halachas. If you don't daven Shabbos on Shabbos, if you don't pray on Shabbos, when do you say kiddush? The obligation to recite kiddush falls upon a person when they start davening. Now, a lot of women don't daven. They don't have to daven. They don't have to pray. So some would say the obligation to say Kiddush is like right when they wake up in the morning. And therefore, we know you're not allowed to eat or drink once the obligation of Kiddush falls upon you until you make Kiddush. Okay, don't stop doing whatever you're doing now. If you wake up in the morning and you eat and then you don't daven, just keep going like that. Maybe we'll discuss those in the laws of Kiddush. Whatever you're doing now is perfectly fine. Trust me. We're not talking about Kiddush. Why do you guys keep bringing up Kiddush? We're talking about Havdalah. Is it better to stand or sit during Havdalah? Obviously, most of us see people standing, but it's not so clear. There's a big argument that you should sit because it has to be, mitzvahs have to be done in a settled manner, which is called kiviyas, in a settled manner. Kabbalistically speaking, you have to draw down malchus into zah. Malchus is the way God. Malchus is like speech. It's the way we communicate with another person. Yeah, I think, I feel, I don't know what else I do. I hear, but in order for me to communicate to you, I really have to use my words. I have to speak. It's like malchus. That's what malchus is. Malchus is God communicating with the world, communicating to us, creating the world, and we want it to be settled. We want to feel that connection, that communication. So we sit. Malchus and sitting are connected. We're always trying to draw down malchus into us. So a lot of times whenever we want to draw down something holy, like Kiddush, we're blessing the day, drawing down the divine energy of the day. Say that for Chassidus class, but the words themselves, when you recite Kiddush, what are you doing? You're drawing the holiness, you're reciting it over these words, and the words now go into the wine. And then we consume the wine so that the energy becomes physically part of us. Stop right there. So really, even according to Kabbalah, you should be sitting. And a lot of opinions say you should be sitting. But the argument against Kabbalah, so to speak, and there's other opinions, is that when you're surrounded by a group of people, it's all settled. Everybody's here to do one mission. And we're all like part of that mission. So it's considered as if you're settled and involved in that mission. And another reason is out of reverence to Shabbos, we stand, because what is the point of Havdalah? We're going to discuss, is it from the Torah or from the rabbis? But what's the point of Havdalah? To be malave, to escort the queen, the Shabbos queen, back to where she comes from. So we stand. The Alter Rebbe says, in order to, both opinions are very valid, whether to stand or to sit. So we stand during Havdalah, but we drink the wine while we sit. Let me just see if there's anything. I just wrote a couple notes here. Okay, you can't make it on wine. By the way, you can say Havdalah until Tuesday. You're not allowed to eat until you drink Havdalah. You can't. Even a Shulchan Aruch, you should not eat or drink until from when Shabbos is over until Havdalah. You recite Havdalah. Yeah, you can do it over whiskey, no problem. Let me just see. Standing or sitting or Havdalah. Okay, now let's just get into the obligation of Havdalah for women. The question is, what is Havdalah? And is it from the Torah or is it from the rabbis? So there's a big dispute. And the Rambam and Rabbeinu Yonah hold that women are obligated in Havdalah just like they're obligated in all mitzvahs of the Torah. Now, women don't have an obligation in time-bound mitzvahs. They don't have an obligation to shake the lulav, which is only for 7 days, which can only be done during the day, sitting in the sukkah, the same thing. Whatever, you can name whichever mitzvah you'd like. They're not obligated in time-bound mitzvahs. However, when it comes to Shabbos, all of us have an obligation to keep Shabbos. We all have the mitzvah of Zachor and Shamor. Zachor means to perform the mitzvahs of Shabbos. And Shamor means to guard against malacha, those things which are against Shabbos, the rules of Shabbos. So if Havdalah is part of Shabbos, then of course women are obligated in Shabbos. But the Maggid Mishnah and other opinions hold that no, Havdalah is a rabbinic requirement, and it's out of reverence for Shabbos. Just like we brought in Shabbos with reciting over Kiddush, same thing, we say goodbye. We don't, I always can remember, it's a little bit off topic, but I once went to someone's house for Shabbos, and I was a bacher, I was a young unmarried chap. And I remember I walked in, took off my coat. They took my coat from me. It was like very nice. They took my coat, they hung it up. They put, what's your name? Sit down. And there was just such a, you felt like $1 million. It was really nice. And then I think by the end of the meal, they realized I didn't come from maybe like such a wealthy family or whatever it was. I had to find my own coat. At the end, I didn't even like say goodbye. They didn't say goodbye to me. I don't know. They walked out. I mean, the meal was over. Did not feel the same $1 million when I left. Had I felt the same way when I left, perhaps I would have given them my $18. No, I'm just joking. Just remind me of that story. I always think that story is hilarious for me. I remember walking away laughing. Okay, so Shabbos therefore is not, Havdalah, according to other opinions, it is not from the Torah. It is not part of Shabbos, and therefore women are not obligated to say Havdalah. And this presents a different issue. So number one, then, if you're not obligated, if women are not obligated in the mitzvah, they can't be what's called moitzi. They can't they can't fulfill the obligation
for other people.
Yeah, but what's like I need like a one word for that. They can't fulfill the obligation. They can't take care of the obligation of other people. Exactly. But can I say that in one word? That's the question. They can't take, so therefore men, they can't, men, they have to say it themselves. The men have to make sure they do it. However, there's a bigger problem over here. Women can do certain time-bound mitzvahs, right? A woman can go shake lulav and esrog, and she gets the mitzvah. She's not obligated in the mitzvah, but if you're a woman, you are allowed to say a bracha. You say Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvaysav v'tzivanu al natilas lulav. You can make a bracha. I'm not obligated. No, you have the option to join in, to option in if you'd like. Same thing with it, singing a sukkah. You will get the kedusha if you choose wisely. No, if you choose to take part in the mitzvah. Says the Ramah, the Ramah from Moshe Isserlis lived in Krakow. His shul is still there today. The cemetery is still there. You can go to Krakow and sit there. I know Nadia was just there from Italy. I don't know if she's on. It says like this: a woman can only make a blessing on a mitzvah that she's not obligated in, provided there is action. It has to have an action attached to the blessing. I can't think of another example, but certainly Havdalah actually has no action. The whole point of Havdalah is to just say goodbye. And saying goodbye, according to the Ramah, is not an action. And therefore, women really should not say Havdalah by themselves. Should always try to find a man to say Havdalah, not just a man. It has to be a man. It can't even be a bar mitzvah boy. Really try to wait till he's 14 or 15, actually, to be to hear Havdalah for different reasons. In fact, we have women here in our community that will go. I know my mother-in-law's on. She had a neighbor. She lived by herself. Her husband passed away, and my father-in-law would come over to make Havdalah for her.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I probably missed this when you were talking about it, but can a woman make kiddush?
Yes.
And can a man say amen?
Oh no, he can't. Oh yeah, a man can say amen for sure.
And then
he can't be obligated, but he can't fulfill his obligation with her kiddush.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, very good. Because kiddush has to do what's the difference between kiddush and Havdalah? First of all, you have to make kiddush on Shabbos, and a woman has an obligation to keep Shabbos. Part of keeping Shabbos is making kiddush. Havdallah, we're going according to the opinion that Havdallah is not part of Shabbos. It's not a mitzvah on Shabbos. There's no mitzvah. The Rambam holds it's a mitzvah, but most other authorities hold that it's not a mitzvah to say Havdallah, and so therefore it falls into this whole other category. Therefore, she can't make a blessing because there's no action attached to it. It's a time-bound mitzvah with no action attached to it, and therefore, since she has no obligation, she can't take God's name in vain. So therefore, she goes and listens to somebody else. However, says the Alter Rebbe and says most authorities, if you're in a situation where there are no men around, a woman can go ahead and say Havdallah by herself or for other women. Question is, can she be mitzi? Can she take care of the obligation for other women? It appears so. The Alter Rebbe holds, yeah, she can also drink the wine. Okay, let's just see 1 second. According to Shulchan, women are obligated to recite Havdallah. A man who's already heard of Havdallah can be mighty, heard just like we find with regards to Kiddush Friday night. You can only make Havdallah once, by the way. Can't make Havdallah multiple times. Kiddush, you can make Kiddush multiple times for as many people as you like. Provided nobody has heard Kiddush, you can say it for each person. I remember one time I did it like 4 times in a day. I was feeling quite groovy by the meal. However, with Havdallah, it's something that can only be done once. Sorry. So I just want to make an interesting point, if I may do so. Women, since Havdallah, there's no action attached. So therefore, when they say they can't say the blessing. They shouldn't really say the blessing because there's no action attached to Havdallah. I know you're thinking, what do you mean? There's basamim, there's the candles. They're all separate parts of Havdallah. The Havdallah is just reciting Hamavdu ben Kodesh L'chol. Thank you, God, who separated the holy from the mundane work week. That's the mitzvah. Everything else is like customs added on. So when it comes to shofar, a woman can make a blessing over the shofar, and other women can answer amen and fulfill their obligation through her, because they really do have a obligation to hear the shofar, right? And therefore they can fulfill their obligation through her, because the woman can say the blessing and she can blow the shofar. Okay, anyway. Now, there's something about women making a bracha on candles. What time is it? Yeah, we got a couple more minutes. Okay, so it says in halacha, how do you hold the candles? No, wait a second. Women are exempt, including the blessings on the candles. Okay, I'm not going to actually get into that. Okay, I just want to mention something very interesting. There's 3 parts. There's 3 things that we do during Havdallah. We drink the wine like this, hold the wine cup like this. We do basamim. Yeah, I'm doing else. And it all makes sense why I'm using my hands. And we smell the basamim, and we do the candles like this. Yeah, we do the candles. We don't look at our thumbs. Did we talk about that last time? We don't look at our thumbs. We look at our fingernails, and we look at this part of our palm. And you shouldn't look at your thumbs, Kabbalistically. You shouldn't look at your thumbs on a candle. Say that. So we do it like this. Yeah, you look like this. According to Shulchan Aruch, according to halacha, you should never put the cup down throughout the entire Havdalah process. So what happens is you hold the cup like this, and now it's like, you finish the Bori Priya Golfin, and then what really you're supposed to do is hand over the cup to this hand, your left hand, and pick up the basamim and smell the basamim, and then do the candles, and then bring the cup back into your other hand, and finish the bracha. Then sit down and drink, and Seder. However, there are opinions that say, and I don't know where, but you should put the cup down. The Rebbe, once again, I'm Chabad, so I'm biased. the Lubavitcher Rebbe, after about 20 years of being Rebbe, he followed the opinion that you put the cup down. So yeah, when it comes time for basamim, if we put the cup back down and we smell the basamim, and then we pick up and then we do the candle, and then we pick the cup back up. Most people don't do it that way. They just hand it to their left hand. It's a big deal. We don't know why, but that's how the Rebbe did it. And then we all switched and we started doing it that way. Chabad does it that way. I don't know if anybody else does it that way. We put the cup down while saying the other parts of the blessings. I don't think I have the source. I don't think there is a source. We're not exactly sure. Obviously, there is a source, but we don't know. We don't know. Okay, any questions? It's about time's over.
Yeah, so everybody else just looks at their one hand with the flame.
Everybody else looks at their one. What do you mean? Say it again. Say
If the other people are holding the Kiddush cup and never putting it down, when they're doing, the flames, they only look at their one hand.
Yeah, they only use their. No. Oh yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I've actually been to like a Sephardi. I never paid attention. It seems so. It seems like exactly what they do. Anybody know? Anybody go to like a non-Chabad shul? This is how biased I am. I only go to Chabad shuls. I've been to Sephardi shuls, and I always love the basamim. I get caught up in everything, looking around. The drums are coming out. I don't pay attention, but next time I will pay attention. It seems so. It seems that they don't. It seems like they only use one hand. I mean, what's the whole point of looking at the candles, by the way, on your fingernails? Is because you want to benefit from the light. We're making a blessing over the light. What we spoke about earlier has to do with Adam creating fire. He was scared, all these different things. Check out a previous class to see why. But we want to benefit from the light. So we have to benefit from some way. So we don't have to use both hands. You could use just one hand. Kabbalistically speaking, both hands, the 10 fingers represent the 10 sefirot. And so, it represents godliness, godly attributes. And so we try to tie it into that. Okay, we don't use, I think, chachma, and we don't use our thumbs to do with chachma. And I don't know, one of the other things I already forgot. I don't remember exactly. I'll look it up after. But in Chabad, we put the cup down and we go like this. Go like that. Some women don't do it. And I have it over here. Sorry, there's a question. I'm gonna look it up in a second. I've got a question. Should one do Havdallah if you're alone? If they're alone, yes. Yes. If you have no other choice, then you do it alone. I just want to look one last thing. Man can have you can look through the Shulchan Aruch. Exempt. Okay, stay there. Women to recite the bracha on the candles. Something about a candle. I just want to. Therefore, okay. There are some women who do not benefit. I remember I told this to my mother. She did not like it. Benefit from the candle. There are some women who do not look at the candle. I think maybe a lot, actually. I'm not sure. They don't look at the candle. They don't do this with the candle. Why? Because darkness fell upon the earth because of the sin. And who's the one that kicked off the sin? Chava, Eve. So women, in order to rectify, in order to rectify their sin, so to speak, they don't look at the candle. Being that I am I'm egalitarian. Obviously, Kabbalistically speaking, and even basic pshat, according to Manis Friedman, that it was all done. Chava knew exactly what she was doing, and she was doing it on purpose, and it gave God incredible joy for what she did. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she did the right thing, tricking Adam and this, and getting everybody, setting the whole thing in motion. It all came from she knew exactly what she was doing, and God loved it. But nevertheless, there are some women who do not benefit from the candle because of the whole darkness, and the whole point of the candle is to rectify the darkness, etc. Okay, we'll stop here. God willing, tonight we'll have Rambam with Rabbi Perry. Laws of Mada knowledge. Anybody have any questions? Sorry, I went very quickly.
Real quick, Rabbi.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for you to, in the future or in the near future, incorporate a Jewish burial?
Yes.
Yeah,
Let me tell you
we
what.
had somebody pass away from the show, and things were done different than what I read. So
Yes. Two things. Okay, first of all, I'm sorry. Interestingly enough, there are certain laws we don't learn until we have to learn them. So that's why, like the laws of mourning, very few people really know the laws of mourning because we try not to. I don't know why. It's just like a certain custom that we have to not learn things that we don't have to learn. The laws of burial will do it. We should do it. And the second thing I want to do, the second thing I want to point out is we had a lot of people pass away from Marshall recently. There's a concept, not a lot, well, there's a couple in the last couple of weeks. And there's a concept in the Talmud that says about poverty, that poverty is like a ball, which is like balls that gilgulim that roll around the earth. And so when they come to like our part of the world, it collects a lot of people, so to speak, and then it moves on. And then there's like a long period of time where we don't have it. So the same thing is said about when people pass away. It just like happens, all happens clumped together. It's kind of interesting, kind of sad. Anyway, great idea. We'll do it. I think I want to.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
Rabbi, where do I send my checks for $18? Got a whole stack of them.
I'll stack them. I don't know. We'll discuss afterward. Thank you very much. Not in the
you
business.
you can do it through PayPal.
PayPal. Yeah.
That's the way I do it.
Great. Yeah. Plug them in, baby. Okay. No, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. We'll see you tonight, God willing. And if you have any more questions, just text me.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom,
Go,
shalom.
guys.
Bye, Esty. Bye.
Shalom. Thanks, Rabbi.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Anasteo.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Good to see you. Esty, see you. Andra, good to see that you're back. Awesome. Dan, drive safely, brother.